Welcome back. So today we're looking at the 4th Infantry Regiment of the 2nd Infantry Division. They are a premium squad at BR1 for the Japanese. And to be honest, as far as low BR premium squads go, this has got to be one of the best in the game. So let's check them out. Per their description, they're originally formed in January of 1871 in Sendai, Miyagi, as the Sendai Garrison. They took part in the First and the Second Sino-Japanese Wars, the Russo-Japanese War, and the Soviet-Japanese border conflicts. The division was moved to the Pacific Theater in operations in 1942, where it takes active part in the Battle of Guadalcanal. So, what are the highlights of this squad? Well, number one, they're a medic squad. And unlike many of the medic squads in this game, well, actually, I'm really just thinking of the Soviets, and the Germans. But anyway, unlike those two medic squads, they are a 5-man squad. They have an engineer, and they have 4 medics, and they all carry the Type 100 Paratrooper SMG, which per its description, it's in the 8mm Nambu, 30-round magazine. It's an early version of the Type 100 submachine gun without a muzzle brake and with a folding stock. So, how do they compete? Honestly, I think they compete excellently. We'll get into the stats in a minute, but to preface this, I have had this squad since they came out, which was basically with the launch of the Pacific when it was a campaign. I have consistently run them during the campaign phase and post-merge, and I have run them at every BR post-merge, like 1, 2, 3, 4. I often will continue to put them on and run them at 4. This is probably one of my favorite squads that they have. Well, okay, Japan doesn't really have a whole lot of premium squads, but before the half-track squad came out, this was my favorite premium squad. So, what are you getting? You are getting the Type 100 Paratrooper SMG, which does 7.2 damage at 10 meters, 4.2 at 100. It fires the 8mm Nambu. It fires at 520 rounds a minute, which is a little bit slow. It has a reload time of 2.2 seconds, which is pretty zippy. They have a vertical recoil of 24, a horizontal of 11. They have a 30-round magazine, they only shoot at full auto, and they weigh 3.8 kilos. So, what are they running up against? Well, actually, there's an American squad that released alongside them. And that is they have Risings. What are they called? The 147th Infantry Regiment of the 5th Amphibious Corps. They are also a medic squad. They also have SMGs. They're literally the mirror to these guys. Now, they come with Risings, which they have 20-round magazines. They shoot the 45. They shoot a little bit quicker than these guys with 560. They reload a little bit quicker at 2.0. Their recoil is abysmal at 29 vertical, which isn't so bad, but they have 29 horizontal recoil. Yeah, you may as well be spraying a hose. Now, I actually have used the Rising Squad a lot, more so back in the day, pre-merge. Now post-merge, there's just so many better squads than them, but this is the chief competitor. And if you run into an American player who is running around in the Pacific, who just started out and decided, hey, he was gonna be like, perhaps like you, and pick up the BR1 squad, this is what you're going to be up against. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to beat him every time. Yeah, his gun hits harder. You have more ammo. You have more stability. the Type 100 paratrooper SMG is just so much better. Looking at the Japanese tech tree itself, though, at BR1 you're competing against the S1 100, which you shoot a little bit faster than that. It's at 450, upgraded it probably gets to about 490. It has 32 rounds. It's shooting at 25-10 recoil, which probably gets taken down just a smidge, so it's also got pretty good recoil stats, and it's got auto and semi-auto. The Type 100 early, it also shoots at 450 rounds a minute, 6.0 damage, 3.5 at 100, 30 round mag, 26-10 recoil, 2.4 second reload time, so it's very much so going to be the same as your gun. And everything after that basically just gets better and better. Which brings up the common point that I make, that if you look at premium squads, these guys, they have premium bonuses, and that's going to be awesome, but they are eventually going to get power crept. There's just going to be other assault squads that do what these guys do better. And I'm not sure that being a medic is going to be enough to make up for that. So, just keep that in mind. If you're picking these guys up, you will eventually get to the point where you can run 7-man assault squads, and your 7-man assault squads can have a medic and 4 assaulters, and an engineer, and a different specialist that you want. So, the value of this squad initially is really high, but eventually you're gonna have squads that can do everything that this squad does, and they can do it with arguably better guns. Still, as I mentioned before, I continue to run these guys. Having 4 medics is good. It's not phenomenal. Like, you can put down multiple med boxes, but how many med boxes does your team really need? You can run around and heal people, though, which is really nice. And I think the AI sometimes heal people now. I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure I've seen them healing somebody at least once. But it might just be something where you have to request it, I'm not sure. But you can run around and you can heal people. Now, the downside to them being medics is that they lose out on the possibility of taking a second primary. That being said, that's not really something that I do very frequently. I usually take backpacks. But if that's something that you wish that you could do, this probably is not the squad for you. Now, how do I have them outfitted? Well, we have the first guy, he's the engineer. He has his Type 14 engraved. It was from an old event, and it's cool. He also has his katana because he's the squad leader, and all of my Japanese squad leaders get katanas. Although, admittedly, you could make one of the medics your squad leader, give him the katana, give him the engraved pistol, and give the engineer a shovel. This is just the way I have it set up. They all came with large backpacks. I've kept the... well, actually, that's not true. The engineer came with a large backpack. The medics came with medic bags, so they also lose out on their backpack, which is honestly kind of a big deal, but it's not the end of the world. So, the engineer has his large backpack, which is all med kits. You could swap it for ammo, but they have 30 by 120 their ammo count, so I genuinely don't think that they need more ammo. I think they do just fine as it is. They all have explosive packs, and they all have, well, all the medics have a single med kit. All of the guys except for one have AP mines. The last guy has one of the anti-tank impact mines, which, by the way, they're terrible. They don't kill tanks. It's really just a meme weapon that I've never taken off this squad. I probably should give them, like, an AT mine or TNT or something, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's fun to bonsai to your death. In addition to that, everybody has a flask, and everybody has a Type 14 pistol. That being said, you could give them all Type 94 pistols, and you're not really losing anything. I picked up my pistols back when this was the Pacific campaign, and pistols cost 1 silver order. These days, if I were outfitting them from, raw with nothing, I would give them all pistols, because having any pistol is better than having no pistol, and I would give them all Type 94s because they're cheap. They also do the same damage as the Type 14, so like I said, you're not really losing out on much of anything. You're losing 2 rounds, but again, having any pistol is better than no pistol. So let's get into their perks. They are Mobility 11, Vitality 20, and Weapon Handling 20, which is actually really good. The way that I have them set up, they have their starting perk, which is Run Speed. They have 1 point in Fire Extinguishing, 1 point in Speed of Changing Pose. This particular guy's medic, and he has 2 points in Healing Speed of Allies. And then they have Run Speed and Climbing Speed. Realistically, I would prefer to have Medpack Usage Speed and Run Speed, but it's just the way the points lined up this time around. In Vitality, they have the Vitality perk, and then they also have 200% health restored by Medkit. And then in Weapon Handling, they have 2 points in Reload Speed and 4 points in Vertical Recoil Reduction. What this essentially means is that they shoot very, very flat, and they reload very, very well. And they're kind of hard to kill because of Vitality. So, I like that. Looking at the Engineer, instead of the Healing Speed, because, he doesn't heal allies, he instead has an extra point in Run Speed and a point in Crawling and Crouching Speed. In addition to that, instead of having health restored by Medkit, he has 4 points in health regen, but he still has Vitality. I haven't used the reroll on him though, so that could change. His weapon handling perks are the same though, Vertical Recoil Reduction and Horizontal Reload Speed. So, I think that this is a very good squad, especially if you're starting out. They'll be able to carry you for a very long time. You'll be able to use them at BR1, BR2, BR3, BR4. They will get power crept eventually by stuff in the tech tree. Arguably, they're even at BR1 and 2. They definitely get power crept by BR4. That being said, well, even BR3 because you get the Type 100 late. That being said, they do have premium bonuses, which may or may not outweigh that difference for you, and they are a medic squad that gets an engineer. Tech tree medic squads, for whatever reason, don't get specialists. They are bigger squads at 6 men, but they are only medics, which makes me believe that this squad is superior, because yes, you're getting one less guy with 5 guys, but you're getting an engineer, and having an engineer, I would be willing to trade 2 soldiers for. That being said, by the time you get an assault squad, you can get 4 assaulters, a medic, an engineer, and a specialist of your choice, and I think that that setup is superior to this, but you are getting 4 medics with an engineer, which does have value, and it is different. The gun itself is very stable, it's very comfortable to use. I think it beats out most of its American counterparts. I think I would rather have it than the grease gun, even though the grease gun is pretty stable. The BSA Thompson and the BR3 Thompsons, I think I would still prefer to have this because it's more stable. But also, it has a bayonet, so it does well in melee combat. Like, the Thompsons hit harder, yes, but they also have jank sights, and I think the sights on this are really good. So, looking at it against its competitors, I think in general, I would rather have this squad. Looking at it internally with Japan, like I said, it will eventually get power crept, but as long as you're grinding stuff, it has value with its premium points. And I think their perk layout with 20 points in Vitality and 20 points in Weapon Handling is actually very good. The only drawback that you might find with them is the way that they look. They kind of remind me of Japanese, like, school children. If you've ever seen, like, in anime, they always have, like shorts on, like, sometimes they'll have, like, collared shirts, and then they've got, like, those yellow helmets. These guys don't have yellow helmets, but they're in, like a button-down collared shirt with, like, shorts, and it just reminds me of, like, a Japanese school kid. So they look fine. Don't get me wrong. It's like a whitish shirt with, like, green shorts and like a pair of combat boots. Like, they look fine. I draw the parallel between the two, and it makes me kind of laugh to myself. Yeah, I like them a lot. I recommend them. If you specifically want to play at BR1 and 2, they're very good. I think the competition with the Americans is very stiff at BR1 and 2, and so I think getting into Japan is very difficult because of that. That being said, if you have anything BR3 and up, I would play BR3 and up just because I think that the Japanese teams are better at BR3 and up. You run into a lot of marshals, and you run into a lot of people that are dedicated Japanese mains, and so most of my games up there have been very, very good as Japan. Even with this squad. Like I said, I've regularly played this squad on my lineups. The only time recently where, or rather, the time where I first took this off recently was when I was playing with the Tokyo Arsenal SMG, and basically that was because I took 3 assault squads and gave them all Tokyo Arsenal SMGs, and if I was running 3 assault squads, I didn't realistically have room for this squad on my lineup. That being said, recently I took off 2 of those Tokyo Arsenal squads, and I put on these guys, the Type 1 squad, and I swapped out a different squad for the half-track squad, and I've been playing them a ton. And I've been playing them at BR4, and I've been having no trouble playing them at BR4. So, I recommend them, I like them. There are better things, but I don't feel like I'm being severely handicapped by playing them. So, let me know down below, if you're somebody who plays Japan, have you picked up this squad? Do you play around with them? Do you like them? I understand that being medics is kind of a turnoff to some people. They'd rather have pure assault squads. I do think that medics add something critical to the game, because this is a game with a lot of attrition, and soldiers go down a lot. I think this helps a little bit with that. But it is what it is. I think that they're a banger squad. They get my seal of approval. Admittedly, there's not a whole lot of squads in the Japanese tech tree to begin with, outside the vehicles, but I would say that the half-track is number 1. That's your first choice. You can play it at BR2, BR5, whatever. This and the Type 1 squad are side grades to each other. Out of personal preference, I think that I prefer this one over the Type 1 squad, even though I play them both at, like, BR4. Even though the Type 1 has, like, a 50-round magazine, and I really, really like having that gun with that 50-round magazine, I think this gun is just more comfortable to use. And it might just be, like, visual recoil or something. I'm not sure. But, as per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.